Well, let's switch gears now and talk about the forthcoming March 11th gubernatorial and state assembly elections. Well, following the defeat suffered by the APC, that's the All Progressives Congress, and the People's Democratic Party in some of their strongholds during the February 25th presidential and National Assembly elections, tensions are high as some governors whose parties failed to win the presidential poll in their state are under intense pressure to win their re-election bid, install anointed successors, and have begun moves to secure their seats. Well, to further analyze this, we have still with us in the studio, Yemi Ajayi, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you.
It's no longer business as usual, especially with what we saw at the February 25th election. Yes, pockets, snippets of violence, of rigging and all of that, but on the whole, we saw some surprises. For instance, governors who could not return as senators. We saw, a lot of incumbent candidates who could not hold their seat. But right now, it's looking like now these governors are agitated because come March 11th, they would be going to the polls Nigerians would be going to the polls to re-elect or maybe chase out of office the governors they don't want to be in power. And we've seen some alliances happen. For instance, in Oyo State, the Labour Party candidate or the Labour Party has actually formed alliance with the PDP, that's Governor Seyi Makinde. They are supporting the governor of the state. And then in Adamawa State, we see the Labour Party candidate stepping down for the APC candidate, who is a woman, by the way. Very interesting. So we're at interesting times in Nigeria's political arena. But what are your thoughts, especially looking towards these elections?
It's filled with so many uncertainties, quite a lot of uncertainties, and unfortunately Lagos State is in the eye of this conversation. The Lagos State's loss to Labour Party at the presidential polls was a shocker to me, because I strongly believe that, I don't know what went wrong. Maybe people were trying to have an apathy vote or something, but I don't, let's even leave that and focus on this March 11th. I strongly believe that Governor Sanwo-Olu has to re-strategize to capture Lagos State, because with what even happened at the presidential polls, I believe people will want to have a reactional vote, probably against him, one way or the other. But I strongly believe that if we have to analyze very well, that shouldn't be. We should rather be objective in the way we vote. But again, beyond Lagos State, we have Oyo State, like you mentioned. We have Benue State, we have Rivers State, we have Abia State. These are spotlight states that there are lots of things that will happen there. The introduction or the coming on stage, political stage of Labour Party has changed certain things for us.
And it's quite interesting because all of the no structure party, it's a party that doesn't have structure. It's a party that doesn't have the widespread when it comes to, the zonal and the block vote region in the country. And then we see them sweeping Lagos and also some other states. Let
me tell you, it's just the way technology took over the world. Technology doesn't really need some structure one way or the other. And I'll tell you, with the right thinking, initiative, and innovation, the way structure will give birth to itself. Because people are the real structure. People's interest build structure. Because when we're talking about structure, I do tell people that, see, the structure you're talking about people. And structure starts from the mind. Once people go to the polls and say, this is what we want, structure will give birth to itself.
But it doesn't look like that structure has gotten to the north, has it?
Oh, it's gradual. Go and look at the history of all political parties, apart from PDP that has been, I would say PDP gave birth to all of them, is their mother, however, but with the way things are happening now, we expect a lot of changes. If you permit me, I'll tell you about Lagos State, Oyo State, Rivers State, the configuration. Lagos State is now polarized politically. Believe me, I do believe that Lagos is a mono-party state. Yet there are opponents.
Since 99.
Yeah, there are there are other people. We have 16 people going for this Lagos State Guba position. Yeah, but let's say 3 are the strong ones. But Labour, the child you said has no leg is now walking fast behind you. Come on, that child may overtake you. So what I see happening in Lagos State is for us to really, really go deeper and see the real reason we should vote, not the sentiment of voting.
Now, when you talk about, when you talk about the real reasons why we should vote, initially the conversation was on structure, and you made it clear that structures are the people. But now it's moving away from structure to antecedents, track record. Is it very important, or is there anywhere in the law that states that an individual who is vying for a position of, say, the gubernatorial post should have been in government or seen doing something for the community?
Nothing. There's nothing in law that says that. I can wake up tomorrow and go to my state. I've not been part of the government there. And that's why I told you earlier that the structure we're talking about are the people. It's about influence.
So what is the criteria for that particular position? Ideally,
his ability to deliver results.
Even when you've not done anything in the past?
His ability to deliver results. I can take you back to Donald Trump. He was never a politician in the US. And he came on stage, he beat everybody, got there. So it's about people believing that you can deliver results. And that's why I said we should look at the real reason of voting. We should be very careful. If we think we want to punish an individual because of certain things, we may be doing something wrongly against ourselves. You know, do you understand? Left to me, I'm not campaigning for anybody here, but we should look at the configuration of the candidates who has the power to deliver, and we should look at the vision, the capacity, and exposure. Experience in governance and hunger for power are not the same thing. You can be in government and not have power. You should be able to balance both interests. Yes, we've seen someone that has not been on the stage before. We want to test in new hands and all that, but believe you me, if you experiment wrongly, you will go back 25 years from where you were coming from.
But those who got the experience started from somewhere. They were also inexperienced when they got into power. Tinubu is a very good case study. In 1999, what experience did he have?
In a Adeco struggle.
Political corridor.
In a Adeco struggle.
No, I mean...
He has been there.
Yeah, he's been in the corridor. But I'm saying when it comes to the Lagos State politics, because we're looking at Lagos State now. When it comes to Lagos State politics, did he have so much experience as at then?
You mean Tinubu?
Yes.
I don't want to placate this man like he has won the presidential election by, But Tinubu has had years of experience before becoming the governor. Do you understand? Tinubu is not somebody that you
might even talk about Fashola, for instance.
Yeah. Tinubu is not somebody that wakes up tomorrow and says, I want to take this decision. He plans himself. Tinubu prepared himself to become Lagos State governor, just like he prepared himself to become Nigerian president.
Can we even talk about Fashola, for instance, who we never knew from anywhere, who was also a practicing legal advisor?
But he also worked with Tinubu, so you can also say that.
Yeah, that's...
You can also say that he's also been in the corridor of power.
He's been in that corridor. But let me tell you this, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience. What you are not experienced in or at may lead you to gambling. And if you're not careful, if you gamble wrongly, you will fail.
But is there any place of one learning on the job?
It's not at the governorship level. You see, let me tell you, I've been opportuned to work with deputy governors and senate members and commissioners, even sitting commissioner in Lagos State. Learning on the job, you don't have a teacher. That's the truth. And if you teach yourself wrongly...
What about those who have godfathers?
Godfather will not do your job for you.
But he can direct you?
Godfather will only give you directive and say, go and do X, Y, Z. How is left to you.
Can they also give you the infrastructure on how to make the job easier?
The how. You see, you can have everything. You see that how on learning on the job can be very painstaking. I'll tell you, learning on the job is very good. But it shouldn't be... You see, 4 years that we're talking about for the governor, it's like 4 days. Sit down with the governor. And I'll tell you, go and sit down with all these governors. They will tell you that in 4 years, they don't start like they sat there for 4 days. So,
but that's because you're not prepared. If you're prepared for the job, you have your roadmap you have studied the problems in the state and all of that, you should be able to hit the ground running as soon as you get
Reality is different from the fiction of the mind.
But isn't that why we're talking about staying at the corridor of power or at the veranda of power?
Yeah.
So
if you don't have a vision or a picture or a tincture of an item, you can give it a different shape.
Now, if you talk about people who plan, who make plans, especially for the job, how come they come up and they're giving excuses that they never saw the wrath in the system to be this high?
Okay, if you want to jump inside the water, they tell you to put your first leg to see how deep it is. But as a risk manager, if you put the second leg, it will be deeper than the first leg, and you still run into the same crisis. I don't know if you get that. I told you I want to test the depth of this water. I put my first leg there, and oh, this water is shallow. Let me try the second leg. I may be diving deeper, and that may cause crisis. That is what they face.
So in spite of all the experience being at the corridor of power, watching those who are actually in the eye of the storm do it, you still may not garner all that you need to keep the ground running. Is that what
The
you're saying?
difference is this: experience will count for you.
Okay.
Even when you are faced with storm, experience will count for you, just like a pilot. If you want to take off and you face a storm, the experience of the pilot will tell you where to glide. But for an unexperienced pilot, it may crash.
Okay, so it doesn't look like we're just focusing on Lagos, because we have 36 states and the FCT.
Yeah.
Let's talk about River State, for instance. The governor of River State, Nyesom Wike, has been the chairman when it comes to all of this, tug of war between within the PDP. But the APC has now said we will vote for the PDP candidate in River State. It looks like there was a negotiation, like a bargain between River State Governor Nyesom Wike and the APC, because we saw him conversing for vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu even in River State, and even the River State coalition officer is still alleging threats to his life with regard to the February 25th election. What do you think is going on in all of these political gimmicks?
In politics, yes may not be yes, no may not be no. 1 + 1 may not give you 2. You see, what we're just talking about here, there can be a verbal agreement, there can even be anything, but politics is a game of interest. Yes, so Wike we have to battle with APC in River State, I'm telling you.
Despite the promise from the APC.
Well, where was the promise announced or stated or declared?
Well, he delivered. He delivered the states to them.
Well,
he
he delivered to them. Politics is about people. If he said he has delivered based on an agreement he has with APC and blah, 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 and something twist happened and it's not coming his way, where would he go to? That's the question. I'm not saying that, for me, it's strong assumption that this thing happened. He went ahead and said he was rooting for APC. He wants Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be the fantastic. But again, people make choice. And when it gets to that point, the configuration may change.
You don't
Let me
think
give you an
rigging
example.
has a place in all of this?
Rigging has place in everywhere. In fact, even in family, there's rigging.
Exactly. So if the chief security officer of the state says, this is how I want, this is the direction I want the elections to go, he, in a way, if he wants to manipulate the system, the process, we know how things run in Nigeria, especially the electoral process, especially looking at this last elections that has been alleged to have been fraught with a lot of irregularities.
Absolutely. You see, the fear again is, or the shameful thing we should not be talking about in this nation, is that we rely on rigging, manipulation, circumvention of process to get people there. It's a shameful thing to talk about out there. We shouldn't even encourage it as a nation. But again, it plays an important part of our politics. When people want to get things done, they go strong by that means. They want to get it by all means, okay? But with the way it's happening, you see things can change within 24 hours. That is my own, thought process. Then some Wike has delivered and all that. Tomorrow, they can sit at the table and say, you know what, drop this your guy for this our guy, and have this negotiation. So in politics, in political negotiations, value changes with time.
So do you think Iyesom might have to work harder, or is the promise from the APC enough to get
He will
him?
work harder. He should not just stretch his leg and sleep. In fact, he should be sleepless. He will work harder than before.
What do you think about women in politics, especially
Oh.
when you see the turnout of Chichi Ojei, of the presidential candidate of the APM? Eventually, the chairman of her party said that, no, we're supporting the APC. And, you know, she cried foul. She was really pained. That was quite sad. The fact that he just pulled the structure from under her and then, you know, made her, even though she still contested. And then we see the woman in Adamawa State, I can't recall her name right now, who is also contesting as a governor. Looks like we're going to be, there's also another governorship candidate who is a woman in, what state is that now? Is it River State? Yes,
yeah.
I think it's River State. So it's looking like the women are getting more involved. We know in the past women have gotten involved, like Sarah Jibril in 2011. She got involved, she got 1 vote. But what do you think? Do you think things will change this time around?
Things will change. And my prayer is to witness a female president in this country. I'm a very strong advocate for women, whether in politics or anywhere. I so much believe in equity, especially when it comes to leadership. And believe you may mark my word, and if this is recorded, we'll make reference to it in the future. A female president will probably be the one to change Nigeria.
Why do you think so?
Now, I strongly believe it may be something beyond my physical thinking, but women have this power to change things.
I believe.
But
we have to wrap it up on that note. I like that note.
Things.
Women have the power to change things.
Yeah,
We'll have to take a break now, but thank you so much, Yemi Ajayi, for the insightful and, of course, instructive analysis of the topics we've discussed today. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a break now. We'll be back with Charles Fakroha walking us through the personal finance segment. Stay with us.